Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Beauty Under 40 Reviews, the Beauty Under 40 Award, which are powered by the Allied Beauty Association, is on Tuesday, this coming Tuesday, May 19th. And we're talking to four of the finalists in the education category. So I'm going to let each of them introduce themselves, and then we'll jump into a couple questions. So Michelle, why don't we start with you?
Sure, yes. Hi, my name is Michelle Finlayson, and I'm an educator living in Edmonton, Alberta. Yeah, I guess, how much do you want to know?
just the elevator pitch.
The nuts and bolts of it?
The elevator pitch. Yeah,
Okay, so I've been in education for 12 or 13 years, I think now, and I work full-time as an educator for Schwarzkopf Professional. And then I supervise and manage education in Western Canada for them, and then I'm on the artistic team as well. So, education.
All right, Simon.
All right, Simon James. I'm in Vancouver, Yaletown. I work with Goldwell. I grew up in the hair industry, so both my parents are hairstylists. I actually, the reason I'm a hairdresser is because I went to the ABA when I was 18. My mother brought me, and I was, to be honest, like, I'm full disclosure, I just saw like the dudes on stage rocking it out, those platform artists, and I was like, I want to do that. And then, you know, I didn't really realize how hard you have to work to get good enough to do that. But, you know, because I just, if I may share a little story, like I remember getting laughed at in hair school because I was so clumsy. And I just remember being like, no, I'm going to get it. And, you know, I wasn't a natural hairdresser. I struggled very, very hard. And so I had to develop an approach that was very technical, and I had to break it down scientifically, which led me to wanting to share that with other stylists. So one of the things that I kind of have made my mantra, my life's goal, is to be that person for the next generation that I wish I had had.
Cool. MJ.
What's up? My name is MJ. I'm 28 years old. I live in Montreal, Canada. I'm French Canadian, as you can tell. I've been in the hair industry for 8 years, and I've been working for Redken for that amount of years. So I'm born and raised Redken, black blood all the way. Then I became an educator. I was known for short hair, so they put me in Redken for Men at the time, which became Redken Brews a little bit later, and I got chosen to be the Redken Brews ambassador, and I've been traveling worldwide with that campaign for the last 2 years, which was quite amazing. So yeah, I've been in the industry for 8 years working for Redken, and you know, 8 years later, I'm just traveling the world, sharing my passion, and that's about it.
When we do, you and I sit down to do or virtually sit down to do the podcast, we're going to jump. I have lots of questions for you.
Yeah.
I
bet.
And the funny thing is that, it's happened both in the same call. I think this is right. I got to go back and check my notes. Simon and MJ, you are the only two of the finalists that I've spoken to so far, and I've spoken to 22 of you now, including you. You're the only two that had a direct connection to the industry, like a mother or father was either in the industry or a stylist.
Yeah, my mom is an esthetician, basically, but she did a lot of education for biotherm, so I'm just following her footsteps.
Yeah, so both my parents are hairstylists, actually.
Right, right.
I have a cousin in Philly. My great-grandfather was a barber. There's speculation that he might have had some mob connections because he's an Italian dude in Philly. He got off the boat, and then, you know, he had there was a lot of like Uncle Franks rolling around.
I love this. My mom was a hairdresser, but she sucked at it, so she went to basically she was allergic to products, so she went to the esthetician side.
So Jessica, we're going from one extreme to the other.
Okay.
And you are barber by marriage? Is that
Barber by marriage, sure. In the industry by marriage. So does that make 2.5?
Right.
Is that a direct connection or not really?
Well, you can move that up to a full connection if
Okay.
one of your children become a barber.
There you go. There you go.
That's perfect.
So Jessica, tell us about you and
Here's what
and what you do in Brampton.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Try to keep him occupied past the time frame to have his attention span.
Yeah. So tell us about you.
So I think I am from the complete opposite side of the industry, the less sexier side, if you want to call it that. It's more the administration side. And I share some roots with you, Simon. So my first hair show was when I was 17, and my husband was in hair school at the time. And, because he was poor and we were young, that's where he decided to take me on one of our dates.
I was about to say, was he your husband at 17?
No, not yet. Still had a little work to do there. But we were very fortunate. I was in school, doing the typical college university degree because my parents wanted me to do it. And then I walked into this place and my mind was blown, and it was magical. People were on stilts and dangling from the air. It was like Cirque du Soleil. There was models on platforms, music. I was just in love with it. And I basically said to him, someday I'm going to try to figure out how to re-steer my career journey to try to do something in the beauty industry. So I actually don't cut any hair. I've never, done, except for the one time to try to cut a bowl cut my son's head. Of course, every mom needs to do that. But other than
rite
that,
of passage.
That's kind of how I got into the industry. From that early age, we eventually got married when we were 23, and we opened a business when we were 24. So we opened a barbershop. Had a lot of challenges along the way. Barbering was not as hot as it was, it's now like 12 years ago when we opened up our first shop. So from there, we, had a lot of challenges finding staff and kind of telling the public about how great, this revival of men's grooming was supposed to be for our industry, because there are a lot of naysayers and, people saying things like, what's the word they say, metrosexual and things like that back in the day. So it's a lot of changing norms of old school mentalities. Fast forward a few years, we realized that there's a lack of education in the industry. So we did workshops, and then from there, we realized our passion for education. And in the last 5 years, we've been working hard to open a private career college. So as of 3 years ago, we finally broke the red tape. In Ontario, because there's no such thing as a barbering license, we became the first accredited college in Ontario to offer a diploma education. So for new, and when I say new, it's not teenagers. I guess you can join the industry at any time. It's new to the industry, but we're here now to help people, the next generation, to learn from our mistakes, and to kind of get them started and get them workforce ready. So we represent education, but at the initial stages of education. And it's exciting because I feel like everyone here on this call is the continuum of education. Like, you never stop learning, right? And I think that it kind of covers the full spectrum of a hairstylist or barber's journey.
Yeah, may I just say something that kind of stood out from what you were saying? You were saying, oh shoot, I lost it. So there was something
come back to you
talking about with the education side of it, and now I lost it. And the phone's ringing.
And the phone's ringing.
I'll come back.
Michelle, where were you? What does Beauty Under 40 mean to you? Like, obviously, you've had, all of you have had what really interesting, diverse, and distinguished careers. You've won awards. You're now working working for Schwarzkopf, but what is being a finalist in Beauty Under 40? What have you taken the chance to like think about what that means?
What that means? Yeah. I mean, I think like when I first saw the email, or I think it was on Instagram, I received a message from the ABA, you know, almost just like letting people know and letting me know that this was something that was happening. I didn't even realize, like, I don't remember knowing of any other sort of recognition for the industry like this. It's like a celebration of all the efforts of so many amazing people. So I remember seeing that and, you know, reading through it and being like, oh, wow, like this is really cool. Like this is really interesting. And then, yeah, so I like threw together a video just because I thought, well, sure, why not? Like my initial thought was like, I've been doing this, it feels like forever. Like I've been in the industry 20 years, but I've been doing this for almost 13 years now. And I went right into it, like right after, like almost right away. I feel like it was only, you know, behind the chair for so long. Anyway, long story short, being celebrated in any way for a contribution to education in Canada, like I feel like that means like that's the same, if not actually more to me than any of my like awards for my art, for my collections. And that's saying a lot. And I mean it because I could almost feel like emotional about it because I don't even realize how long I've been teaching. And if anybody goes, you know, like you mean something to the industry, like that's unbelievable. So yeah, I would say I'm very, very, very proud to be a finalist in this category specifically. Okay. So thanks.
Simon, who did you tell first?
Oh, whenever any of this stuff goes down, I call my pops. You know, like he's like the original, right? Like, I mean, I've talked about this in my video, and I talk about it a lot, even through education, is, you know, that my father and I were not close when we were growing up. There was a little bit of a divide between us, which is funny because we're like almost the same person. Right. Maybe that's why. And I actually kind of became a hairdresser on some level to kind of have something, because we didn't like, you know, fix cars, you know, he wasn't into sports. So, you know, like we didn't have that connection. And as soon as I got into hairdressing, it's like, it completely opened up this relationship. And like, wow. Again, I talk about this too. Like when we did a hair show together and went on stage was one of the most badass moments I've ever had in my life. And he did the styling from like we would take inspiration. So we both do a 40s look, right? Mine would be like soft and airy and new, and his was literal and like technical and just like so perfect. And it's like, I don't have that skill because I wasn't raised in that generation. And right. Actually, you know what's super cool is we're actually going to be putting out a video next week, because I've been doing videos all throughout this whole thing, and we're going to do a hair off, and we're going to film it, and we're each going to do. We have to have one technique in common, and that's probably going to be the French twist. But I guarantee our looks are going to be like so different. But it's going to be fun. I don't know.
That's fun. MJ, you were really like it. The light bulb clicked for you very early. You were very, very young. Some of the finalists had happened later, but you seem to find your calling very at a very young age, and your passion for education much younger than most people who go to education even take a class. Yeah. So how did that? Where do you think that drive for education for you? Where do you think that came from?
I don't know really, like, because if I remember myself being a student in school, I didn't really like the education model, to be honest. But then when I did the show with the ABA, and then they were able to translate a hair language to someone who never took a freaking hair class. Like, I don't know, like, I was like, I finally understood something. And I went to hair school much later. Like I was 15 when I did the show, and then I went to hair school when I was 18. I tried to go to college and I tried to do all these things, but it didn't really fit my personality. And then when I went to hair school, I finally, was great at something, like it was more, handy, which I really liked the education model. And I was, like good at it. And my teachers were they had hopes for me. So it gave me a little bit more, courage, or I don't know, like more confidence in myself. And when I took like Redken classes, because I was always involved with Redken somehow. And when I took my first Redken class, it was like I had this aha moment, if you will. And I was like, this is what I want to do. Like how they made me feel in that class, where like I could elevate my skills. I was like, I want to do that for other people, like I had such an epiphany, if you will. I was like, I want to be great, and I want to share my knowledge and make someone else feel the way I feel at the moment. So that was pretty much the aha moment for me. So basically I was just perfect my skills, and I was just sharing everything that I know. Not that I was like more skilled than anybody, but I knew how to verbalize what I wanted to say, and it worked for other people. So I was like, maybe, I could do that, so I started teaching, well, more shadowing, if you will.
Right.
And then, people like how I was saying stuff and how I could verbalize what I had in mind, and then it's just started there. It never occurred to me that I would be a hairdresser or even a hair teacher, an educator. It just happened, like. So I don't know. I don't really know where I'm going with this, really, but just like it just happened organically.
Yeah, Jessica, how do you find looking, you know, like you, I am not a hairdresser, but how do you find looking when you're just kind of in the space and you see a student doing a cut, or you're at a show or an event, are you and you're looking at a hairdresser doing what they do best, how does that make you feel as someone who doesn't have that, come with that skill set?
Oh, absolutely. Just because I don't do hair doesn't necessarily mean I can't appreciate it when I see great work or meaningful work done by someone, right? When you know someone loves to do what they do, and you see the light kind of twinkle in their eye, and they can't stop talking, or they kind of have a glimmer in what they do. There's a kind of an air around them that's it emanates from them, right? So that's the factor that I take a lot of joy from, because although I can't do it myself, I think what I am able to add value as an extension of that is help to enable them the platform or the opportunity so that they can shine. And so at the end result's what matters, right? And if I see that they're happy and the client is happy, I think the objective is achieved, right?
So I'm going to ask the same question for each of you. You can answer, you can only use one word. I'll start with Michelle. How do you, if you are selected as the Beauty Under 40 finalist or winner in the education category, in one word, how will you feel?
One word? Okay.
One word.
Grateful.
Grateful.
Yeah.
Damn.
What do you got, Simon?
You can do it, Simon.
No, literally, that's what that would be how I felt. Damn.
Okay, good. MJ.
What's the question again?
If you win on Tuesday the award in the education category, the Beauty Under 40 education category award, how will you feel?
Oh my God. I don't know, like very, like, one word, shit.
One word.
I have mine now. I just got it.
I'd follow with Simon, like, damn. But I'd be super flattered because, you know, like, you don't do it for the award. You just teach, and you don't really expect any awards for that. But shit, like, I would be very flattered, and it just confirmed what I'm doing is, like, I'm in the right spot, and I'm exactly where I need to be. But I'd be super flattered for sure.
Well, but Michelle, it's like you said. It's like you said about, like, we win awards for our work, right? And then nobody ever gives out an award for, like, an educator,
right?
Like, because as educators, I feel like sometimes educators are unsung heroes. I mean, really, like, a good educator and a good mentor, a good teacher can have such a great impact on your career. Like, I remember going to a class one time at the beginning of my career that completely set the stage for the rest of my journey. And it was like one simple trick, which was, you know, like, start in the front. It was something like that. Just, like, start your blow dry in the front. And it was like, for the rest of my career, it's like, that makes so much sense. And it completely changed that in-salon experience.
Cool.
Yeah.
Jessica, one word. How you feel?
Thanks for letting me go last, so it gives me some time to think about it.
It's just I'm going by how I see you on my screen.
Oh, great.
Poor Michelle.
I know.
I'd be honored.
Nice.
Perfect. Mm-hmm.
Cool. So I look forward to getting to know you more, and the ones that I have not done your podcast interview. Super excited for that, but I'm also super excited to see you all on Tuesday night for the Beauty Under 40 awards. We're gonna do it like everything these days, socially distanced, and hopefully this time next year we'll be able to toast you properly, or the next generation in person. So, but until then, stay safe, stay sane. I'll see you guys on Tuesday, and thank you for everything that you've done and your passion for the industry. And we'll see you then.
Thank you so
Ross.
much.
Nice to meet you
All
guys.
right.
Nice to
Take
meet
care.
you. I promise I'll be there with, like, super powerful Wi-Fi this time.
MJ, I really appreciate. It seemed like you were moving around to find the right Wi-Fi angle, so I really appreciate it.
To be honest, like, I have no excuse. I was playing basketball with my friend.
Let me ask you, how did you find out that you were nominated for Beauty Under 40?
I think it was actually Carly Pinn, who works for the ABA, actually just contacted me to let me know, and I'm glad that she did. I have a great relationship with her, so yeah, I'm glad she did, because I'm so busy between all of my locations and my education program that sometimes I do miss emails. So I'm glad that she contacted me to let me know, and you guys have been fantastic, kind of guiding me through this, because obviously I'm doing my best to run businesses at the same time. So it was it was a blessing, and I'm very flattered, and I appreciate that someone out there has paid attention to something that I've done. So if anything, I'm just very humbled and just very, very happy, and I'm glad to be a part of something special like the ABA. What